Hey guys, ALine Mask here, and this is just a little energy drink I'm being sponsored called Dubby. This is my personal favorite, Galaxy Grenade. This is for one of those, for gamers with a little bit of energy boost. I recommend trying Dubby. Use the code below or use code MASK526 and you get 5% off of your order. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ALine Mask.
And the cat.
And today's episode, I got a very special guest. We've been, all three of us have been together since high school. I mean, we kind of went our separate ways, but time to time we catch up. And actually, this is the very first time I've seen him since high school. I want to introduce the one, the only, I'm not going to say his real name, we're going to call him Monkey. How are you doing today, Monkey?
Not too bad, I'm doing pretty good.
It's been a while since, high school? I want to say since high school?
Probably been about, it's been freaking 10 years at this point. We was talking with the cat about it on the way here. It's been freaking 10 years since we got out of high school.
This May, yeah. It's 10 years.
Now, if you were to ask me 10 years ago, would we be doing this? No, I wouldn't even think we would be doing this. Hell, I wouldn't even think we would be doing a podcast together. Yeah. But, so... as I was asking if you want to do this, you were also telling me you wanted to start a podcast on your own. What made you want to start your own podcast?
Just having random talks with one of my good friends in the car at work. Like, we'd take our breaks at work and just start talking about random crap. We'd be sitting there dying laughing, like, we need to show this to people. Like, other people need to experience this.
Right. And have you guys already started a few episodes, or is it still like a process thing?
No, he ended up moving up to Colorado, it's a little more difficult these days. Yeah.
Well, hey, look. You want to do your podcast, you can invite me or the cat. We'll come to you, or, we can all get together and we'll do your show, we'll do my show. I don't know if the cat wants to ever do his own show. He's like always like, my right-hand man, or, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to do your own show, we can start doing your show too.
That's like too much work for me. I'm kind of lazy.
Leave all the hard work up to you.
You guys do like research and think of like, okay, what are some topics we could talk about?
Mm-hmm.
So, there is actually one more rule. In case you guys haven't known, if you guys ever join my podcast, I do have a couple rules. No filters, so you guys can cuss, say whatever you want. But obviously, there's a couple rules. Another rule I forgot to mention is that whenever we talk about somebody, especially if you want to talk about somebody bad, let's not say their real names to protect the identity and to also protect yourselves, because the cat knows that I recently got a crazy stalker, and I was telling him a story about my crazy stalker, and apparently she saw the video, and she made threats about me.
Oh, jeez.
She was like saying things like, you need to delete that, you need to stop saying my name, and I was thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, I don't even think I even said your name at all, and I'm pretty sure I didn't, right? It's been a while since we talked about it, yeah. But, yeah, she was like making threats, like, you better delete it, or I'm going to sue you, I'm going to tell my friends and family about you, and they're going to kick your ass. I'm like, whoa. And then she goes off saying, like, I'm going to put a restraining order on you. Like, look, I didn't say your name. So if the judge does listen to this, he's going to be like, look, he could be talking about somebody else. It doesn't specifically have to be you, but he didn't say any names at all. So what I like to do sometimes too, like, if I ever want to tell a story, I'll say a fake name, like, oh yeah, I remember this one time I was dealing with this one girl. For the sake of the story, let's just call her Jasmine. So it's like, yeah, that's another rule I have. If we're talking about somebody, especially if we're talking about them in a bad way, let's use fake names. That way none of us will get in trouble, and none of us have something to worry about.
Sounds legit.
Took a little sippy sip. So, another thing I want to do with this episode, I just want to reminisce, talk about what we did in the past. We all met in high school. I want to say, was it drama club or drama class?
It was class.
I don't know.
I wasn't in drama club.
Oh, so just class then.
Yeah.
Were you in club?
Yeah.
Because I want to say that's where I met you, was in club.
Yeah, because I think like when I first got into drama class, we were separate different periods. So and then I hung out during drama club, and that's where I met you. Him I met in class.
I'm pretty sure we all had the same drama class together, third period.
Yes, we did. But like I'm saying, I'm not sure when, because I took like drama class for like 3 years, I think, or something shit like that.
I want to say, for the sake of the story, let's just call our teacher Mr. O. We're not going to use his full name. Didn't he have like 3 programs, like, beginner, advanced, something like that? Didn't he have that?
Something sort of similar to that, yeah. I know the more advanced students, I forget what he called them, but like they were in their own little club that they would go and do like festivals and things like that. Like,
let's call them the ones that will make it. But because I want to say, when I first joined drama class, I didn't meet you just yet. I want to say like later on when I joined the advanced program.
Yes, I think that's where we're all met, is in the advanced one, whatever.
yeah.
And was that something you want to do? Did you want to be an actor, or was that just like a fuck it, I just want to take a class?
I really enjoy acting. I still did it. I even did it a little bit after high school. I worked with the sketch comedy group that's local to the area, and it's really fun. I enjoy doing it. I don't know if I'd ever want to do it as a career, but it's still fun to do.
I think it is actually kind of hard as a career-wise, because if you get way too famous, you can't really go out in the streets, and people are all over your business. Just recently, I actually I was reading a little. Either I was reading or I was watching. Most likely watching, because I hardly read. But I saw a documentary about the life as a celebrity, and I didn't know this, but I'm pretty sure you both heard of Michael Jackson, right? So apparently Michael Jackson rented out a store, and because he wanted the experience of what is it really like to go to a store as a regular person. And yeah, he bought a store and hired like a bunch of actors to pretend we're shopping, whatever. And I was just thinking wow, you really never know what it's like to be a normal person when all you through your life is through fame. That's how he basically was as a kid. Was all he was going through was just fame.
And imagine being he had to experience it double, because of course he was born into a famous family, but he also was famous of his own merit. But imagine being the kid of some sort of star, and you don't even want to be in the limelight. You're just born and people are already all up in your business, and you didn't even do anything.
And the one thing I did respect about him was he will always hide his kid's face. He always tell hey, we're gonna go out, put on your mask, hide your face. Because I understand, imagine just being a kid of a famous person. You're just trying to go to school, whatever, and all of a sudden you got paparazzi all over you taking pictures of you, and you're just like a 5-year-old or something.
Have you seen his daughter recently?
I want to say yes, but I think I forgot her face.
She is stunning. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty.
Do you know what she's doing? Has she decided what she's doing with her life?
I'm not 100% sure. I think she does a little bit of modeling. I think she does music every now and then. I'm not 100% sure, though. I wouldn't quote me on that.
Right. So we might get into a little conspiracy theory right now, just a little FYI. So
put on your tinfoil hats.
So yeah, me and the cat, we actually have discussed this, because as you can see, we have no cameras, and that's because I don't have the money for that right now. But later down the road, I do want to start getting cameras and record our podcast. So we thought of an idea, every time we do a conspiracy theory, we're gonna wear tinfoil hats.
That would be a good idea.
But people say Michael Jackson's still alive. Me personally, I want to say he is. What do you guys think?
Crickets.
It's like you guys want to say yes, but you guys want to say no at the same time.
Exactly.
I haven't seen really any sort of compelling evidence to show me that he's still out and about.
Well, here's what I think. This is the reason why I think he's still alive. Because one, he wanted to get out of the celebrity life. He's done with it. He's I can't handle this anymore. You guys are always accusing me of stupid things I'm never doing, and I want to spend time with my kids, but you guys are always all over my ass.
Yeah.
So you think he faked his death then?
I think a lot of people has like Michael Jackson, Tupac, Kurt Cobain. I honestly want to say Kurt Cobain faked his death. I want to say he's still alive because I don't know. Have you guys seen the documentary Soaked in Bleach? I think it was called Soaked in Bleach.
But I've heard a little bit about some of the sketchy circumstances surrounding his death. Like, apparently his suicide note was written in 2 different handwritings, and the beginning of it is written in his. Mm-hmm. And it starts off just kind of like a diary entry, him talking about, like, the state of his career and things like that, and just being kind of down and that's why, like, it drives me crazy when people are just, like, Nirvana fanatics and they just think that Kurt Cobain was, like, freaking God or something. Because that's one of the things why he was, like... He was very upset about how kind of, like, commercialized and just sort of run-of-the-mill Nirvana was becoming.
Right.
And that's one of the things that he talked about in that letter. But then, like, halfway through the letter... completely different handwriting. Like.
Right. Well, like, when people saw that, they think, like, Courtney Love was the one, that killed him. Because well, I don't know. Did you say you have seen Soaked in Bleach, or you just heard of it? Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Basically, it's about a detective who was hired by Courtney Love to go look for Kurt Cobain because she was concerned that he was going to do something stupid. So he was like, okay, where do you think he's at? Oh, I don't know. Where's his house? Oh, it's over there. And then they went to his house. He wasn't there. Like, okay. Like, he's trying to ask her these things, but it's like she's at the same time dodging the questions. And then finally, when they found him in the house that he killed himself at, there was just too many things. Like, first off, the other cops, they were there. They looked at it and said, yep, suicide. Case closed. It's like, normally, even if it looked like a suicide case, the cops still try to dig in there to, like, okay, we got to be like 1,000,000% sure this was suicide. Mm-hmm. Not just, oh, that's another thing. We don't say suicide, we say off ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube, they have all these rules.
Yeah. They added, weirdo rules.
So, yeah, and then the detective noticed that it was locked from the outside. So it's like, I forgot how he said it. It was like, there was something weird, like the way the door was locked. It's like, no, there has to be at least 2 people in order to lock this door.
Yeah.
And I also think, like, Kurt Cobain probably faked his death because I forgot which song he sang it, but I think it was Come As You Are. Because at one point of the song, he goes like, no, I don't have a gun. Mm-hmm. I don't have a gun. And that's how he off himself, was with a gun. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm like thinking, like, no, then I know, like, that's just him singing, but I'm like thinking at the same time, like, that's just him telling people, like, no, I don't have a gun, so obviously I'm not going to do anything.
Is it bad that every time I hear that song, when it gets to that part, just in my head, I'm like, you fucking liar.
Or, you know what I also think before I came with that theory? Mm-hmm. I also think, too, like, people thought, or people still do think that Courtney Love was the one who killed him. Mm-hmm. That he was basically putting in a song, like, warning people, like, guys, if supposedly I kill myself with a gun, or if I off myself with a gun, I don't have a gun.
Mm. It weren't me who done it. Like when, people get arrested and they say, hey, I'm not, have feelings of unaliving myself, so if I did it, it was the cops who done it.
That's what...
Basically, you either thinking that's what he was referring to, kind of, like it was like someone else, not himself, who done it.
Yeah, because we've seen, like, a lot of celebrities, they'll say things like that. They're like, guys, I'm just letting you know that it's almost my time because I know something about the government. I know something, and somebody's going to, like, do something to me. And then the next day, all of a sudden, they're dead.
Yeah, and they offed themselves.
They offed themselves, or it was an accident.
There was a dude, I'm kind of disappointed that I can't remember his name. But you've probably seen videos of him. He's this kind of crazy curly-haired dude that he would talk a lot about, like, one of the things that he talked about was how Chester Bennington and what was the other musician that died around that time? I forget, but how they were working on some sort of project about like calling out the different kitty diddlers in the Hollywood elite and things like that, and he ended up the conspiracy theorist ended up fucking swan diving off of a highway up in Winslow.
Damn, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name too.
Mm-hmm.
But like, what do you guys think? Like, do you really think all this stuff is true? Like, these celebrities will be saying these things, and then all of a sudden,
100%.
Yeah,
I mean, look what happened to Epstein. The dude was gonna, I don't know, I'm not sure if they were gonna flip him over. What was going on in the little island or whatever, and then all of a sudden he ends up unaliving himself. You know.
Unaliving himself.
Yeah,
in a secure room on suicide watch. Oh, on a live watch. I'm sorry.
I want to say that's probably okay to say, like suicide watch, because that's like saying that's actually spreading like, hey guys, you know, if you're depressed or something, you know, call the suicide watch. You know, it's like basically saying, hey,
it's a noun and not a verb or an adjective or whatever, so it might be okay. But I don't know, with YouTube and their policies, we don't know. So
they use an algorithm to like censor a lot of the crap, so they're not really looking for context. If you say the word, they're just gonna be like, bam.
They're just gonna nuke the video regardless.
Have you guys watched the YouTuber Meat Canyon?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen Meat Canyon?
Oh my god.
He draws like the most messed up fuck up shit. Like you heard of like, you know, Garfield, Ed and Eddie. He did Family Guy.
He just does super disturbing versions of all of them.
Oh yeah, great. Like he draws them like really like monstrous, like fucked up creatures.
Like, you know when they zoom in on somebody's face in SpongeBob and it gets all like weird and hyper realistic? Right. That is literally all of Meat Canyon's drawings. Like
it's really fucking funny. My favorite one is the Garfield one. Have you seen that one?
I don't. Oh yes.
When Garfield was a guy, but he had him all blindfolded and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly love that he made John as the creep instead of, you know, Garfield himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he made a recent video of, you know, him, like, you know, he's drawing his stuff and he's like, okay, I'm done. And all of a sudden YouTube, nope, that can't work. We're going to take it down. So even he made a video about that, how fucking stupid YouTube is.
Mm-hmm.
But rewinding a few steps about my theory that Michael Jackson's still alive. One, when the day of his death, you know, you've seen all these these interviews with the dad, the mom, the brothers. Everyone's like, you know, interviewing. They're like, hey, how does it feel to lose your brother? And they'll tell stories like, oh yeah, I remember one time I went to a store and I saw this old man and he was just looking weird. And as I got closer, I'm like, Michael, is that you? And it turns out it was my brother. And I was thinking, like, that's another thing. He likes to disguise himself in order, you know, to be out in public.
Yeah.
And I also think it's a bit, don't you think it's a bit coincidence that his last album and his last movie was going to be called This Is It?
Yeah.
And then when he started making the music too, like, what's that one, that most popular one? They Don't Care About Us.
I don't know if I've heard that one.
That was like almost like one of his last songs that he wrote. But basically, like in the song, he says like, it doesn't matter if you're a skinhead, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, racist, not racist, gay. It's like, it doesn't matter who you are. The government doesn't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just numbers to them.
Exactly, that's what we are.
That's why I don't understand how people always get mad about what other people do. Like, why? It doesn't really affect you or nothing.
It's because that's what the government does. Like, that's their whole thing, is divide and conquer. That's the whole reason we have a Republican and a Democrat party. Like, they want us fighting each other so we don't fucking realize all the bullshit that's going on behind the scenes.
I recently saw a video on TikTok. I don't know if you watch TikTok.
Every now and then, yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a video of some guy saying that. It's like, the government people don't even care about you. Why is it that the point of the government is to like help each other? It's to help the American people. It's supposed to help you guys. But yet, we have all these classes. We got Republicans, Democrats, liberals. We got all these classes, and instead of helping each other out, we're just at each other's throat. Why is that?
That's the purpose of it is designed to it. The great evil Walmart sponsors both parties.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about control. Like, that's the reason inflation is a thing. Like, people, rich motherfuckers figured out they could use money to control people. Mm. And they just, the easier, and that's one of the things about math. Like, the bigger the numbers get, like, the easier it is to make the numbers bigger and bigger. Like, exponents be exponenting. Like, fucking, like, every time we raise the minimum wage and things like that without any sort of like legislature to keep the bigger businesses from like just pulling everything from the bottom line, like, it's not gonna work. We could raise the minimum wage to fucking $50 an hour. Everything would just get fucking 4 times more expensive. Like,
and they will still be bringing in profits.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I kind of don't really understand is that, well, I understand. I do understand it, but is that at the same time, why do we still continue doing? Is that you can get paid more, but the consequences of getting paid more is everything is going to go back up.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like you're basically still earning the same amount of money, or I should say, like, it's just an illusion that you're earning more money, but in reality, you're earning the exact same amount that you were just making.
Yeah, like, comparatively, and honestly, with the way inflation and shit is going, like, you're making less money, honestly, because the price of everything is rising faster than the wages are. Like, you can't buy a house on a normal job anymore. Like, that's just not feasible. Like, it's just not practical. If you have one, like, let's say, what do you think the average wage is? Probably, like, I gotta say it's somewhere in the 5 figures. Probably, like, maybe like
16, probably 17.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe a little higher than that, like maybe 30 or 40.
Like for like a normal person?
I think like the average wage per year was like $50,000 for the average American.
Oh, I thought you guys meant like how much a person makes like per hour.
Oh no,
but like for a year, I want to say
50 to 100,000. I think is the average national average.
Probably about that. Yeah. Yeah, you just it's not feasible to buy to even buy a house on that shit anymore. Like, you used to be able to, like, my dad bought a fucking Chevelle for his first car for like fucking $500. And if I were to buy something comparable, like if I were to buy a car from like say 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to find a decent running one for under 10 grand.
Right. Like, that's just what it is nowadays. It's always about money, 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 and we're at each other's fucking throats when we gotta. I don't know how to really explain it. It's just a lot to think about, honestly.
It's just decades upon decades of like the people on top turning the people on bottom against each other.
Mm-hmm. And the majority of the people just don't fucking see that for some reason. It's like, these people just want to say, like, oh, no, they're on their side. Or like, no, they're on our side. But it's like, no, they're not on anyone's side. They don't really care. We're just a bunch of pawns to them. What we are is, like, basically, we're like gladiators, you know. They're up in the pedestal eating whatever they want. And meanwhile, we're down here killing each other. And in their eyes, we're like, yes, kill for my entertainment.
And they're... Honestly, I feel like something sketchy's going on. Like, it can't be a coincidence that all over the goddamn country there's just all kinds of, like, trains and trucks and all kinds of shit just full to the brim with chemicals spilling all over the fucking place. Like, that shit's starting to scare me, honestly.
There was a theory, I don't know if it was actually a theory or it's actually been proven, but when COVID-19 hit, it actually existed for 3 years before it was announced. Mm-hmm. And somebody was because I don't know if this is true, but apparently it originated in China, and somebody in China was about to blur it out. They're like, guys, there's a fucking virus going on right now, but of course, the government got to him before he could even say anything. And I don't know if it's because, they don't want people to start freaking out, or it's like, no, we kind of need this to, like, start happening to, like, do population control.
I don't even know if it's necessarily about population control, because, like, yeah, coronavirus killed a lot of people, but if they wanted to control the population, I'm sure they could have gone with something a little more virulent. I think it's more about just making people scared and controlling how they behave, like with all of the mask mandates and the lockdown.
What they can get away with. Mm-hmm. I mean, during the whole pandemic, they had a whole bunch of rules. You couldn't be out on the streets. If you were, you go to jail or whatever.
You gotta be like 6 foot. Was it 6 feet away from each other?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think this was just a matter of control. I don't know.
And then you gotta get the vaccine, which apparently is not even
I will
effective.
not. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I am not an anti-vaxxer by any means. I believe that vaccines have helped a lot of people throughout the years.
Mm-hmm. But it also, at the same time, it killed people too.
Yeah, like this vaccine is it's not even effective. People who got the vaccine are still getting COVID. Mm-hmm. It's just a sham.
And and
now they're saying that Fauci had something to do with Pfizer. He's on the board or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they're investigating him. He just basically got that shit through without
The cardiac issues is what's scaring me. I had an uncle. This guy literally just dropped 50, 60 pounds, and then he died. Oof. Out of nowhere. And he had just gotten his poke. He was the healthiest he had been in freaking years.
Yeah. That's funny. You kind of remind me of, I have a cousin, and he's basically a bodybuilder, so, he's always working out, he's fucking healthy, he's always running, he's always, the top shape, and, anyone could be, and he got COVID, and all of a sudden, he had to go to the hospital, and when I went to go see him, he was all freaking, all wired up, he got everything, and it almost came to the point that, yeah, he was about to die. Even the doctors were telling him, hey, I don't know how to say this, but if I were you, I'll get your affairs at work. And he was like, what are you trying to tell me, doctor? So it's this COVID thing, it doesn't matter if you're healthy, you're not healthy. This shit could actually kill you no matter what.
Oh, yeah, the virus itself is one thing. I have a friend that she used to run marathons fairly regularly, and now she had COVID for almost a year. She almost died a few times, and now she can barely do shit because she doesn't have the lung capacity to do shit.
Nowadays, or this was before, or is she still
Yeah, nowadays she still has issues with her breathing, and she was sick for a year during I think it was 2021. Mm. So she's been better for a year and a half. Well, better. She's been not sick anymore for almost a year and a half, and her lungs are still fucked.
Right. And the cat here actually got COVID once because we were about to meet up for a podcast, but he couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I took a little test and it came back positive. Well, shit, I guess I got this shit. But the thing is, I didn't feel sick at all.
That's another thing too. I think that we all had COVID, but it's just that we didn't feel it.
From what I've heard, is people who actually got the vaccine have had worse reactions to it than we're not vaccinated. I got that shit, but I felt when I had it, I felt like a headache for 2 days, and that's about it. Mm. I'm oh man, I have a headache. I'm gonna call off work.
But did you lose your sense of smell or your taste?
Yeah, so I was I was just cooking something. I'm man, I can't smell this. I wonder. So I went to the Minute Clinic, got a COVID test, came back positive. Oh yeah, you got COVID. I'm oh son of a bitch.
So I got COVID in 2020, shortly after all this shit started happening.
The day when it was announced, that's when you got
pretty much. Well, not the day it happened or anything, but I got COVID pretty early on. That's the only. At least as far as I know, that's the only time I've gotten it since. But is weird. So the one thing that I can tell you about COVID is don't think you're gonna know what's gonna happen. It affects everybody so differently. Like when I got it, it fucked my sense of smell and my sense of taste for like a year afterwards as well.
Oh damn!
For me, like my sense of smell came back right away. Like 3 days after the fact, I lost my sense of smell. I never lost my sense of taste. I could still taste everything I was eating.
Dude, I went out to eat with my family shortly after I got better. And I almost started crying in the restaurant because I had gotten, I think it was like chicken fried steak and eggs. Mm-hmm. And I took a bite of the eggs and they just...
Tasted bland?
Well, they tasted like a corpse. Like, they tasted like rot. Like, they just tasted so disgusting. Yeah. Like, it would make everything smell and taste just terrible. Like, so terrible.
And you were probably thinking, like, wow, what the fuck is wrong with this restaurant?
Well, I knew what it was because I had been going through it for a few weeks at that point, but I was like, this is dumb. I'm not even sick anymore. Why can't I enjoy my food?
I want to say, like, whether you're vaccinated or not, I think we all had COVID. Mm-hmm. It's just, maybe some of us, nothing happened at us. Yeah, some of us just lost our scent, our taste. Some of us got completely sick, but I think at the end of the day, we all had it.
I mean, it could have been like this shit was going on longer than like 2020, you know, before that.
Well, like I said, like there was a rumor that there was actually a Chinese scientist who was going to make an annountment. But
this thing escaped out of a lab in China, mm-hmm. and that's what the whole like the what they're saying. But like, and then going back to what you were saying about the trucks and stuff. I think they're just, I don't know what they're doing, probably getting ready because, you know, like Russia, the permafrost that's like melting, there's like a zombie virus or whatever that's like dormant that's been around since like 30,000 years or whatever the fuck. I don't know, I saw a documentary on it, so.
Oh yeah, there could be all kinds of nasty shit.
And that shit's melting and it's like being released in the air.
So be some funky fungal spores turn into The Last of Us.
Have you guys? I was literally about to ask, like, have you guys started watching Last of Us yet?
I haven't watched the show yet, but I played the game. I played the OG game. I haven't played the second one.
I played the game, and I watched. Have you watched the show or played the game?
No,
probably not, because the game is PlayStation exclusive, and I know you're an Xbox person.
I do have a PlayStation. I have multiple consoles.
But like, if I were to ever come over and if you were playing the game, most likely you would be on your Xbox, huh?
Yes, playing Skyrim.
Master Race.
I actually started recently playing on my PC now.
Nice.
But so in the game, or I should say in the show, they try to like keep up with the game, but they changed. Like, I want to say they actually changed a lot. Mm-hmm. Like in the game, you know how like there's that fog, mist, whatever you want to call that shit, and you breathe it in, you get infected.
Yeah.
In the show, it's not that. It's just
you come to contact with it, like you disturb the thing.
Yeah, I forgot what they call it though. Like it was like a strain. Like
mycelium.
I want to say that, but I don't know. Basically, yeah, like the cat said, if you touch it, you'll get infected, or worse, it's connected to other affected people. So. Say that, you know, we're in here and the infected are like 10 miles over there, but if we were to touch it, they will know that we're in here. Mm-hmm. Which I thought that was actually pretty cool.
So one of the largest living organisms on the planet is actually a big patch of mycelium and fungus under Oregon.
That's what it was called. It was called a fungus. That's what they called it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what, believe it or not, cordyceps, the fungus that The Last of Us is based off of, is a real thing. And it can't affect mammals, but it can affect insects. Basically, what'll happen is it happens a lot with ants. They'll infect an ant, and they'll basically take over their neural systems and make them climb up somewhere really high. And they'll just hang out there until they die. And then when they die, a big old mushroom will sprout out of their forehead. And then the mushroom will burst, and it'll send all the spores out all over all of the other ants. Because it'll specifically put it in a place where its spores can hit the other ants.
Right. I got like a little theory for you guys. So, we all seen theories about the Simpsons, like them predicting stuff. Mm-hmm. They're like, the Simpsons predicted Donald Trump is going to be president. The Simpsons predicted Kobe Bryant's death. Like, I have a little theory about that. I want to see what you guys think.
The time travelers?
Yeah, I want to say, like, what if these are not predictions? What if these are actually warnings? Like, what if, like, they came from the past and they're like, fuck, we gotta warn these people, and the second person's like, ain't no one's not gonna believe us. They're not gonna believe we're time travelers. They're not gonna fucking believe everything. He's like,
or the government will get to them.
Exactly. So they're like
into a cartoon.
So they're like, how are we gonna tell people? Let's make a TV show about it.
I think the reality is even worse than that. So I think The Simpsons are just like proposing some of the wackiest, most off-the-wall scenarios that they can just for laughs, because that's what The Simpsons is. But I feel like life is kind of mirroring fiction at this point. Like, I feel like they're like, it'd be funny if Donald Trump was president. Little do we fucking know, like.
Right. But
if he was president, it was pretty hilarious.
But
watching people get enraged about me president.
What I also think too is that like, instead of being time travelers, what if they were told that they're like, hey, we just heard that in 2014 Donald Trump is going to run for president, because in the episode we see like Donald Trump going down an escalator, waving at somebody, giving somebody a thumbs up, and then years later that's what happened. Donald Trump going down an escalator, waving at somebody, giving somebody a thumbs up. But here's what's getting more interesting. That episode was so detailed that in the background, you see somebody holding up a sign like, Trump for president, or go Donald Trump. And then all of a sudden the sign drops. Now, years later, in real life, that's what actually happened. Somebody had a sign that says, go Trump, and then all of a sudden it just drops. That's way too freaking detailed versus something that's going to happen years later.
Yeah, I've heard a few. I don't know how much I would believe in like time travel, but I do feel like there could be like alternate realities and dimensions and things like that, because I've heard some pretty neat stories about shit like that. Like, have you ever heard of the Green Children from Warpole?
No.
I want to say that does sound familiar, but it's probably been a while.
I think it was in the UK. So basically they found these two kids in the woods that had green tinted skin, and they could not speak English. They didn't speak any language that we knew like on our planet. And they finally and apparently they were really sensitive to light as well, but they got to talking to the kids. They finally taught them a little bit of English, enough to communicate with them. And they found out that they were really sensitive to light, for one thing, or at least our light, because the world they came from had a red sky, and it wasn't anywhere near as bright as ours was.
I was going to say, like, is it just like any light, or is it like sunlight they cannot, handle?
I think it was just light in general, because I feel like their world was just darker than ours.
Mm.
And
so
then,
even like light from a light bulb? Or?
Like, I was going to say, like,
sure,
if I were
maybe.
to point a flashlight at them, would they freak out, or?
I think so, because they kept them in a dark room. Like, they just wanted to be in a dark room. But eventually, they just kind of escaped and disappeared. And there was, like, there's been a few different instances of things like that. Like, there was, I think it was a French airport in the... I really need to verify this shit before I start telling stories, because then I sound like an idiot. But there was a dude who was going through customs in France, and he had a passport from a country that didn't exist.
I've seen that one, yeah.
And he was super confused. He got stopped by customs, and he had stamps in his passport from, like, countries that most definitely do exist, but when he tried to show them on a map where the country he was from was, it just wasn't there. And the customs agents went to go get him something, and when they came back, he was just gone.
I actually heard of that story. Like, I've also heard of one where there's like, I don't want to say it was kids, but I think it was like people just digging around and shit, and they found a coin, and it had like a swastika on it, so it was like a Nazi coin or whatever. Mm. But at the bottom of the coin, it said like 2023. So it was like, wait, how is this a fucking Nazi coin about 2023? So that was their thinking, like, this is probably like a whole new dimension that, Nazi Germany took over the world. Me personally, I do believe in time traveling, other dimensions. Like, I do believe in this shit because it's like there's no way in hell that we can be the only living thing. There's no way in hell that we have such technology nowadays, yet we don't have technology to build time travelings, or we find portals to a whole new dimension. I don't know. Like, do you guys believe in that stuff?
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily have the technology to utilize any of that, because most of, like, even interstellar travel is just, like, a freaking fever dream for us right now, because, like, our whole thing is, like, the closest star system to us, Alpha Centauri, is 4 light years away. It would take light 4 years to get there, much less us. Like, we don't have anything that, like, we would basically have to be able to travel faster than light to make these trips in a reasonable amount of time. Like, we would need to discover fucking warp speed to be able to go to different planets.
What do you think?
Wormhole travel? I don't know.
Like, but do you believe, like, there are other dimensions? There are time traveling is a thing?
Well, I think that could be a thing. Either that, or another theory is that this is all just a simulation being run by some upper being or whatever the fuck. And,
simulation theory is interesting.
And what we perceive as like a weird phenomenon is just the devs, updating shit.
Here's my theory about simulation. So here's what I think. Have you guys ever seen the show Rick and Morty? Have you seen Rick and Morty?
A few.
Like, have you seen the episode where they go to Blitz and Chips and Rick puts on, like, this helmet on Morty and he's, like, a whole new dude and he's, like, going through life and whatever? Mm-hmm. I'm, like, thinking, what if that's, like, us right now? Like, we're going through life and then the day that we die, all of a sudden we wake up to a fucking alien arcade and it turns out we were actually playing a game this entire time.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
Here's what I also think, too.
But also... Oh, sorry.
Or no, go ahead.
I was going to say that could also be there's like multiple dimensions going on with multiple realities going on at once, which sometimes, merge into each other. Like, I feel like that could also be a thing because, sometimes it's like, with deja vu where we feel like we've already experienced a certain thing where we actually have not, but we could swear we have.
I have done that, like, so many times. There have been times where I'll be doing, like, I'll have, like, 3 deja vus throughout the entire year. It's like, what? This is like my fucking 3rd time doing this shit.
Like sometimes, I dream shit where like that's like a me, but like in a different total world. And then like when I wake up, I feel like I already lived through that shit or something,
Right. So what I was gonna say too is, so here's a question I have for you too. Have you ever gone to a room or go somewhere, and then once you get in that room, all of a sudden you're like, fuck, why did I go in this room? Mm-hmm. Here's what I think. You guys played the game Sims, right? Or at least heard of the game Sims, right? Mm-hmm. So, you're playing your character, whatever, but if you leave your character alone, they will start doing their own shit, right? Mm-hmm. So, they will be walking to a room, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, no, cancel that, go to the bathroom instead. And that's when, when you cancel it, they're like, and then they go to the bathroom.
That was whatever the fuck language you speak.
Exactly.
Oh yes, Simlish or whatever it's called. Yeah.
So I'm like thinking, like, what if there's an alien that's playing us? And that's what I think. Like every time I walk in a room, like, fuck, why did I go in this room? And that's what the fucking alien just did. He made me forget why I was just in that room.
Man, we're doing so many conspiracy theories and whatnot. We don't. It's not just enough to have our tinfoil hats. We need our butt plugs in too.
I'm gonna start thinking about that whenever if I ever walk into a room and forget something, I'm gonna be like, fuck my player when AFK.
We need to put like tinfoil hats. We need to put wire hangers on the roof. But it is a lot to think about. Like, me personally, it's like there's got to be more to life than us just waking up, go to work, do the same thing over and over. Like, no, there's something else going on. There's just too many coincidences.
The fact that we're even alive right now is just kind of insane. Like, we are literally like a meat jellyfish pirating an even meatier mech suit. Like, We're basically weird flesh robots. We should not exist, but we do anyway, just to spite the universe. Like,
my mind is kind of going blank right now, but it's like we still got a lot of things to talk about.
Aliens.
oh, another kind of neat addition to the simulation theory talk that we were going over a little bit ago. I heard a bit of an addition to that theory. The speed of light is the fastest we can go because that's basically like our processing speed of our simulation. Like that's basically like the RAM speed, I guess, of our simulation. Like that's as fast as things can be processed.
But I don't know. What do you guys think about simulation? Like, do you think we're living in a simulation?
I mean, it's possible. Who's to say what's possible?
Another theory I heard of, I don't know if you guys heard of this theory, is that the reason why Area 51 is like a restricted area to go to is because that's actually the exit to the simulation.
I don't know about that. I feel like it's kind of somewhere in between the conspiracy theorists and what the government like. I feel like it's probably just a place where they build and test different like classified technology.
Do you think there's aliens there?
Probably, maybe.
I don't know. So when it comes to aliens, I don't believe we're alone. Like, it would be stupid to think that we're like in this infinite universe that we are the only things here. But,
what were you going to say?
like I said earlier, it takes light 4 years to get to literally the closest star system to us. Interstellar travel is just so unfeasible to me that it's like, you literally have to break the laws of physics to get to another planet. Like,
Right.
Or find a way to, fold the. I think I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say something about time being more like a tablecloth or whatever. In order to get to one point to another, you just got to figure out how to fold the fabric of time. Hence why it's called fabric or whatever.
That's what I was saying, though. It's like the technology that we have nowadays. There's no way in hell that we have the technology to go fucking faster than the speed of light.
And maybe the aliens already figured it out, or maybe they just came here in their little saucers, whatever. Maybe they're just scout vessels that got stuck here, and we're like discovering them, and we're like trying to reverse engineer that technology in Area 51.
I saw this comic about like aliens. It was like during the COVID-19. It was fucking funny. So it shows like these two aliens. They're like looking at Earth and they're like, should we finally reveal ourselves? And the other one goes, no, right now they're fighting over toilet paper.
Toilet paper scarcity.
oh, Jesus.
2020s.
I know, when people were like hoarding fucking toilet paper, I was like thinking to myself, like, God damn, people, it's called the coronavirus, not the Taco Bell virus.
My buddy was just like, I'm so glad I have a bidet right now.
Spray water on your ass.
Apparently, you gotta be careful with those things so they'll shoot up inside you.
Oh, yeah. You put too much pressure, you're like, fuck.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Like-
I've seen, or what were we going to say?
Like, this just turned into a douche fire.
Have you ever seen that show, 1,000 Ways to Die? I've seen, like, that's actually one of the ways to die is that, not like a bidet going up to your fucking ass like that, but like, somebody jumped from a high cliff into the water, but I guess he wanted to do a cannonball, so his fucking ass went in.
Oh, yeah.
But all that freaking pressure went right piercing through his asshole.
If you fall on your ass, it depends how high you fall, because it's a great cushion. But at a certain place, once you really reach terminal velocity, that your ass just acts as a I don't know what I was gonna say, because your spine is there, so you hit it just right. There goes your spine, and boom, you're dead.
Well, I would say maybe you're paralyzed, but damn, I didn't know you would die like that.
Well, you could just be paralyzed. It depends if you the fucking shit in the back of your brain.
Brainstem.
Yeah, get snapped, you're dead.
Yeah, because that's why they always say, like, when you're jumped from a high place and you're going into water, you gotta point your body straight.
Don't land on your ass, because what's right there, your tailbone and then your spine.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at the 10-minute mark. So rewinding a lot of steps. Like, so question for the monkey. What do you got any future plans for your podcast or anything that you want to share?
Not in the immediate future. Like I said, the one that I was originally intending to do the podcast with lives in another state now, so that's been kind of put on the back burner for now. I still stream on Twitch. Not as often as I would like to. I should probably get on that more often, but it gets a little discouraging sometimes. Like, I'll stream and I just won't. Like, I'll stream for hours and then nobody will join in, and it's like, fuck, I'll just play by myself then.
It just seems like it's work though, huh? Like when you're streaming instead of like actually enjoying the game.
Yeah.
Because I will stream too, but not like every single day. It's probably like at least 2 or 3 times a month. But it's just like when you're streaming, I feel like you can't really do much. It's like, okay, right now I'm in a loading scene. I kind of want to go get a drink, or I want to do something else, but I got people watching me, so all I can really do is just sit right here and try to like talk to them or entertain them. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of like, I want to say it's hard work. At the same time, it's not really that much hard work.
I did a stream the other day that I think I even just titled it like I Am Space Garbage or something like that, but I tried acid and I loaded into Elite Dangerous, which it's basically a big space flight sim, and I just found a pretty spot in the galaxy, and I just parked my ship there and I set it spinning so that it would just kind of like, you'd see the universe spinning past. Mm-hmm. And I did that for like, and I started streaming it too. I just called it Space Garbage or like something like that. Like, I am Space Garbage, but like I just sat there staring at this fucking spaceship spinning, like the universe spinning past for like 7 hours.
Right, that must be a really interesting thing to watch though.
Yeah, it was fun. It was neat. It was honestly kind of refreshing. Like, you spend all this time with all of the like intricacies of being a fucking person, being like a civilized person. It was nice to be space garbage for a day.
And what about you, Kat? What's your future plans?
Well, I got no plans on starting a podcast or really doing much video. Just doing this.
Just being like my right-hand man.
Pretty much.
What is it called? I don't want to say it's called right-hand man. Isn't it called...
Sidekick.
Little sidekick whenever you're on either.
I think it was called... Isn't it called co-host? Like, he's like my fucking co-host. Like,
yeah, that works.
Yeah, that could work, yeah.
And then we did come up with the title for us three. I don't know if you want to call it this, like the high school reunions.
Yeah. Fuck it, why not?
Right. That's what we are. Like, we're just like three dudes we met in high school, and here we are, like 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And down the road, we probably want to have more people we went to high school with on here, if there want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that'd be great.
I do want to invite like different kinds of people. Like, I'm pretty sure I told the cat this. I don't remember if I did tell you or if you remember I told you this. But even if you're a furry, doesn't matter if you're a Christian, Catholic, Jewish, whatever religion, a racist. Like, even if you're a racist, I'll accept you in my podcast because, believe it or not, I actually befriended with a racist person, and I'm talking about a white supremacist.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a friend like that as well. I don't talk to him very much, but like, it's stupid. He's like, I'm not racist, I just think white is right. And I'm like, that's fucking racist.
Right. But the girl I was friends with, she was like, white power, white is the ultimate, every other race is, like, she was racist. But
they took our jobs.
Now you may look at me and be like, wait, if she was that racist, how did you, I'm not trying to say something, but how did you become friends with her? So, we got like almost 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to make this quick. So, what happened was, before before I went to Central, by the way, that's how we all met. We all went to Central High School. I used to go to a different high school called Maryville, and I took guitar class there. And I was friends with this girl, and she was friends with the racist. And somehow, she was able to convince her to be friendly towards me. And after, we got together, got to talking, and she ended up started liking me more. And I asked her, I was like, hey, I got a quick question. I was like, yeah, what's up, man? I was like, look, I know you're racist and proud of it, but like, even when she's not around, why are you still hanging out with me? And she's so fucking stupid. She told me the funniest thing. She's like, oh, it's because now that I got to know you, it's because you're actually white trapped inside of a Mexican's body. I was like, figures. But, okay, yeah.
It's like you just proved how stupid your ideology is. It doesn't matter what color somebody's skin is. It matters what they're like on the inside.
That's what I'm like thinking, too. Like, or were you gonna say?
I said we're all a sack of meat on the inside.
Exactly. That's what I'm like thinking. Like, I don't understand how racist people think. It's like, at the end of the day, we're all basically the same. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
They'll say that. Well, if you actually measured the skull of a person of a different color and a person of a white person,
we're getting into eugenics now. Oh,
you'll see that the whatever has like more ridges on this area indicating a bigger frontal lobe or whatever the fuck they say. I don't know.
Yeah, that was called eugenics. Fortunately, not very many people believe in that shit anymore. But like, if you've ever seen Get Out, that's basically what that movie's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't really care the color of your skin, the religion you're in. If you're just a good person, that's what you are to me. You're just a good person, and you're cool with. If you're an asshole, it's like, all right, well, fuck you. I'm not gonna hang out with you.
Exactly.
I mean, at the same time, I'm an asshole, but there's a difference between being an asshole and being a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
The key word is the word fucking.
Like, you got the you're an asshole, and then you got the this dude is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So we are at the 4-minute mark. Is there anything that you guys want to say before we end this?
No, I feel like that went kind of naturally. Like, we had some shit we were going to talk about, and we just kind of went off on a tangent.
Well, that's why I'm here. I always be like, okay, rewinding a few steps.
Rewind, yep. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves and start rambling on something else.
Well, Monkey, it was actually really nice having you. It's been really nice seeing you again. It's been 10 years. I hope to do more podcasts. I'm pretty sure we'll do more podcasts. Oh, yeah. And it's like I said, if you want to start working on yours and you want me or you want him or you want both of us, we'll be more than willing to help you out and show you a thing or two. Or, if you already got your own plan, you just be like, hey, I want to do a podcast. Get your asses over here. Like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. When it comes to media, I've just been kind of working on my Twitch more than anything. And that just kind of haphazardly at best. Like, I never really cared to be, like, famous or anything. I just, like, I like to do wacky shit in video games. And sometimes it's fun for people to watch that. Like,
and I told a lot of people this, too. I told people, like, even if I get famous to the point that YouTube is actually starting to pay me, I still wouldn't quit my regular job because when it comes to YouTube, you just gotta somehow keep going at it. And instead of having one boss, you got like 2 million bosses. Mm-hmm. And if you're not providing them with entertainment, they're gonna go somewhere else and basically you're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's my plan. I don't know if you want to say your Twitch name so people can go check you out.
Oh, it's Monkey Pantera Games if anyone's interested.
And if you want, I'll also add a link. I'll add your link so if people are too lazy, I'll admit I'm one of those people who are like, oh, I don't want to type them in, but oh, look, there's a link.
Like Monkey Pantera, I don't want to type all that shit in.
So I'll add your link.
Sauce.
Sauce? Anybody got the sauce?
So I'll add your link. So I'm going to put his link at the bottom. We are at the final minute. Any last words?
Fuck, I feel old when you say like 10 years.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, man, where did the fucking time go?
It's crazy to think about. Yeah, especially this last 10 years. Like, I see fucking, like, one of my good friends, his little sister, he lives over in North Carolina, and I moved back here to Phoenix. I think you might remember when I moved. Like, I just kind of disappeared one year at Central.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved to North Carolina, and I moved back. I only lived there for about 2 years, but like, when I left, my best friend's little sister was a toddler. Now she's like, I see him and her their mom like post stuff about like their family gatherings and stuff on Facebook. She's a whole ass teenager. I'm like, what? What the fuck?
Alright, well, we'll have to continue this at another time. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been ALine Mask
With the cat.
And Monkey.
And until